Now you see all these cards, right? A lot here. A lot. Alright. You see, I have basically everything. That's because I've played this game so goddamn much. Okay?
Right.
Now, the key cards you need a mirror. That is a must for a hero deck. You already have plenty of regular fusion. And I believe off that last structure deck, you actually got a flash fusion, if I remember. But it's not hero specific, so you can use it for any deck, which is great. But another underrated card, which you will eventually get, is Parallel World Fusion. Now, what this does is it uses your banished material to make fusion monsters, which is great. But this is hero specific. Now, it's a situational card because you can quite literally have like Elemental Hero Shining give you the effect of getting attack and then calling back monsters from the removed from play zone anyway if you get them out in the field. So you can get a similar effect, and you'd swap this out for like a Jar of Avarice or something like that to recycle cards from your grave into your deck, or something like that. That would be something you would do. Now, I want you to understand, some of these cards are that of a gimmick that are not going to be beneficial to you. Okay? So, some cards that are going to be some cards that are really good are like things like Favor Hero, but you need to pay attention to the cost requirement. Now, fortunately, it is a very versatile card that lets you use any level 5 or higher hero. That means Vision Heroes, Destiny Heroes, Elemental Heroes, Masked Heroes, any of them. Even the Evil Heroes too. This applies to them. Now, if I remember correctly, this was obtained off of it's off of this one. It's off of a revamp box, so check the box here real quick. But, oh no, it's actually the structure deck, sorry. So, this is another thing I would recommend you get, is this one right here, the structure deck saying Hero Generation, okay? Get this. Because, remember, let me check real quick. If I remember correctly. Actually, no, I'll just do it this way. I'll just show you how the other way to do it. So, go your pill, insert it back, remove your deck editor. This is how you can check what your structure decks initially had, which will be super helpful if you're looking for something specific. So, you'll click the up arrow here, then you'll look down, you'll see structure, tap that. You see all of these structure decks, right? These are all that I've obtained over like last few years of playing this game, okay? Like this, I'll just show one for example. This is one they gave you for fucking free, basically, for the do Rush Duel. I don't care about that personally. But let me actually go ahead and narrow this. Oh, let me see if I can narrow this down a little bit more. Or is it not? Will it not let me do that? It won't let me. It's fine though. So, what you need to pay attention to is what each of these does. If I remember, the one you need is here we go. Hero Generation. So this is everything that comes with the Hero Generation one, okay? But as you can see, it comes with some duplicate cards you already have, which is fine. It's not bad. It's fine. But the key thing to remember is to check this, the extra deck that you get. You get Koga, you get Elemental Nova, you get Excruciado, Goka, Vapor, shit like that. This is like your introduction to Masked Heroes, okay?
Okay.
So, it also gives you one of the best hero spell cards you can get for what it offers, from being a field spell searcher to an equip buffer, and other things like that. On top of that, remember, I believe that when you attack or destroy one monster by battle, you can send this card to the grave and make a second attack that turn. Now, this is a one-time effect, So use this at your own leisure, because it's situational when you want to do this, okay? Now, this is also where you get your first mass change as well, which allows you to go ahead and go into the archetype of the mass heroes, like Koga, Yoka, and Tsuruga, yeah? Now, these cards are good for what they are and what they offer. They're alright, okay? I would say Vapor is pretty good in general, because he can't be destroyed by card effect, which is great. But that reflects only to card destruction, not like if you get your card banished. Say if you attack into a dimensional print. I think that on it.
Oh, be right back.
Look. Intact. There, I should fix it. Okay, I don't know why the quality was fucked up, but it's fine. And let's wait for him to get back. So quickly go over this, so he should be good to go after this. God. Now that I think about it, Kite, how have you tolerated Dank and Derek so long like this? Holy shit. Oh my god.
I'm back. Because they're special.
Welcome back. Okay. Dank.
Yeah.
Now. The monsters here in this deck type are not as important as the spells and the traps you get here, okay? And the fusion monsters, because this structure deck gives you a lot of value for what it offers. It gives you several fusion monsters that are really good for starting. Maybe the effect of, like, Koga is a great to speed stick in general for what he offers, because you're gonna have lots of heroes of the grave in general, which is great. Generation Next is going to be great for getting monsters out on the board if you're low on life points, which is beneficial to help turning duels around. Especially if you, like, use this, get an elemental hero Blazeman, pull a polymerization right out of your deck, and you just go off from there. Things like that. There's some things you need to consider. And of course, like I said, this introduces you to the archetype of masked heroes, which does open up options for you depending what you want to do, okay? But typically, when you build a deck, you want your deck to do at least one of 3 things, basically. You don't want to try to do more than that, because then you'll have your deck quite literally be too inflated because you're trying to do too many things, okay? So you want to focus on what your deck is good at. In your case, heroes are very good at calling each other and fusions. That should be the prime focus of the deck, okay? Now, you can give it some personality by switching out certain cards to help spice it up however you want to play, and that's totally fine. But you don't want your deck to lose its identity. of what it is, okay?
Right.
So, whenever you're playing heroes, you're almost never going to be playing either synchros, and you're not going to be playing XYZs because it defeats the entire point of what this deck does really well, and that it does fusions extremely well. So, now, whenever your phone gets more power or whatever,
Right.
buy the hero generation structure deck. It's going to be super fucking helpful.
Gotcha.
Let's see, I believe there was one other... Was it this one? I know, I believe you already bought this one. No? Now, did you? Yeah, you did. Because it gave you a lot of your others. Yeah, you did buy this because you got your first Neos Fusion, which gave you the Neos engine. Now, some decks, I will let you know, a lot of decks, a good while, Heroes quite literally had this card nerfed to 2, which hindered it for a while, so people had to choose what was more important. So, normally, if you can run 2 of these, it would be recommended you can, but you have the core requirement to use this is the monster that you fuse into must require a fusion material of a Neos. Doesn't matter what it is, but it must require it, okay?
Right.
So, that's why things like Storm Neos is good. That's why things like Brave Knight Neos is good. And Aqua Neos is option, but I wouldn't recommend Aqua Neos because, like I said, because of the Chrysalis archetype that Jake used at the time, when you fuse this thing, you lose it by the end of the turn. So there's no point in putting this in your deck unless you're running the Aspasians. But this structure deck is going to include things like Neospace. It's going to include things like Instant Neospace, basically so you can keep your fusions like this more than one turn. And same like Storm Neos as well. The issue that it comes into is it gets shuffled back in and you lose it. Those are the only 2 cards, at least with the structure deck, that are not that great. But, again, it depends what you're trying to do with your deck, okay? You have 8 slots in your extra deck to work with, okay? So, what these extra deck slots are for is to give you, either win conditions, or it's to give you an out to a certain thing you're dealing with. It's one of those 2 things, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you saw me a good portion of the time when you and I played against each other. You would see me do one of 2 things, depending on what I was dealing with. If your board was an issue for me, I would go for a Synchro Summon that cleared your board for me on Summon. If your monster, basically was, I couldn't get through the defense and I couldn't go for a synchro that required it, I would go for alternative, which would give me something that just basically skips over, whatever your defense is at the time, or if you try to do an attack stall, I would go for a solution for that. So your extra deck is solutions to situations you are currently dealing with. That is the core focus of it. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, every person who builds a deck or plays this game has their own philosophy on how a deck should be built and played, etc., etc. But the key thing is, build the deck how you want. I'm getting you the tools to succeed however you see fit. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the reasons why Heroes is the easiest to get into when you start, because you have so much stuff available at the very beginning. You have, because I've already showed you, you have 3 structure decks up to start that gives you a lot of good stuff to start with. And go from there. On top of all the freebies you get a free Monster Born, Swords of Revealing Light, things like that. It gives you so much to start. It's one of the best decks to start with. Because I played Heroes for a while too, but then I migrated more to Cyber Dragons because I like Zane a little bit more. but that's just me personally. But yeah, this is something that you need to consider, and this is something you need to think about when you're constructing your deck.
Gotcha.
Okay? Not only that, if you ever need to refer to what any of your structure decks, you just go ahead and go onto your deck editor, press down, press structure, and we'll show you every structure deck you've ever purchased if you need to know if there's a specific card if you have or do not have. Okay?
Gotcha.
And some of these structure decks, they will give to you for free. Like the structure deck that they gave you, remember this one, the starter deck for Blue Eyes that they gave you off of this, the friend code event?
Yeah.
That was another free one they gave you. Okay?
Yeah.
But a lot of these structure decks are just great ways to get you started on an archetype, or has some good cards that will help you out. Okay? The other thing I will show you is skills. In this case, you had expressed an interest in Jaden, so I will show you real quick. We will filter for the GX era. Let's see. Typically, most people are going to use Jaden Bell, or they're going to use Equal Jaden anyway, because they just offer a lot, depending what your goal is. But we'll focus on Jaden Bell because he has some of the best hero skills you can get. Okay? So, let me see. Let's get him routine. Okay? Now, I want to show you one difference between the skills you get, okay? Do you see the little diamond here?
Yeah.
The whole diamond-shaped thing here? Okay, these are archive skills. These can be used on any character. Doesn't matter who, okay? Now, what you don't want to misconstrue is that when you are building a deck, you'll see some of the stuff here will offer like towards certain deck types and stuff like that, so they can be played on any character, which is great. But some other decks are not as forgiving, so you'd want to use specific characters to get that effect off. So, some of Jaden in particular's best skills would be, let me see. I had to think about it for a minute because it's been a minute. Usually it's stuff tied around his fusions, usually. Or it's stuff that's called around certain effects. So like Wounded Hero, for example, is a really good one. When you unlock it, which you have a chance of unlocking it by playing normally in online duels. So whether you win or lose, you have a chance of getting it to drop, basically, which is great. Or if you build up skill tokens, which you get when you get like 100 of those, you can get one random skill that he has on his character sheet, which is great. Of course, there are select skills you can't obtain because they were either through events and you have to do the challenge to get that, but that's something a little different. But Wounded Hero is good. This lets you play elemental monster from your deck at attack position with attack equal or less than the total battle damage you took that you've taken so far in this ongoing duel, but you can only use it once per turn. Or once per duel, sorry. Now, you can probably see why this is already good. So say you get immediately hit with a 3000 attack monster, you basically can summon any monster out of your deck right then and there as soon as your turn starts. Basically for free, almost. So say you need a specific fusion, this skill will get you what you need. Think of it like a destiny draw, basically, but for your elemental heroes, after the conditions we've met. Another good one. Emergency Call. Now, this card is in reference to the effect of all 5 of the hero cards that Jaden has. Mage, Cheated Heart, Oversoul, Regis Justice, Emergency Call. And then the last card of the whole set would be Hero Flash, which basically lets you summon a multitude of monsters. Which I believe Jaden does have one skill that does that effect, but it's just not nearly as good as it could be. because Konami kind of blundered on this effect. Because at the time that heroes were really getting buffed up, they were already a pretty fast deck as it was. So getting the emergency call at the time would have just been another like, okay, we just need another card that will help speed this up even more. So they made this into a skill, which is basically the equivalent of what the card is. So it's as follows. So on your 5th turn onwards, your life points are at 2,000 or less. You reveal one hero in your hand, then add one hero that's a different name from your deck to your hand. This is basically used to lead into fusions, but they basically made the requirement such a pain to get that other skills were just better in general, so you don't really see too many people use this unless their deck already is good as is, and this is just some like icing on the cake, basically. It's not a great skill, it's fine, but there are other better options. Now, other skills you can do, like for example, like Eternal Bond. This will basically provide your deck with some of the missing cards you might want, like a Dios, a Yubel, a Super Poly, or a Miracle Contact. Super Poly is probably one of Jaden's best cards in his entire deck, because it opens the options to everything on the board. Meaning, for the cost of discarding one card, you've confused anything with everything available on the board itself, even your opponent's monsters. If I remember right, this card was so strong, it got nerfed, or it got limited to 1 and still is because of just how good it is for what it offers you. So you can quite literally, as long as you have one of the cards you need, and you remember, a lot of the hero monsters, a lot of them have generic requirements. Especially like for your, the generic heroes I showed you, for like required a fire monster, or a dark monster, or even a light monster. This is very good, because you quite literally can take your opponent's strongest monster, make yourself a new one, and you just cleared out your biggest issue on your enemy's board. Now granted, Super Poly only really works well if you have multiple solutions in your extra deck that help you out, basically. That's why it's good to really think about what you're putting in your extra deck instead of just throwing whatever you want in there. This is things you have to consider when you're building your deck, of what your deck's purpose and goal is. Favorite Duel. This is also another pretty good one, which basically gives you like a Flare Wingman, and a Shining Flare Wingman, Miracle Fusion, and Skyscraper. Basically for fucking free. Which is also great. But basically, when you unlock GX, just go ahead and play through, unlock the world, just read through the skills that you actually want. Some are going to stand out more than others on what's going to be beneficial, but what you want to pay attention to is the very first part, where each of these skills, let me see if this one demonstrates this. Like, pay attention to what the very first part says, okay? Pay very close attention. Because this will tell you exactly if it's going to work for you or not. And some of these skills have a 2-part effect or even a 3-part effect, okay? That's what you also need to pay attention to. Because some of these things really change the way the deck is played. So, say you want to be summoning a lot, you probably want to be oriented more towards something that lets you summon a whole lot more, or get more fusions out. That's probably what you're reoriented to. Like, as another example, if you want to go get a Super Poly, actually, if I remember right, you can't get a Super Poly except from a skill, if I remember, because of how busted it is. Because it offers so much to the fusion decks currently. Remember Quick Play, and it is a fusion related, and it is it's gonna be an ultra rare. There we go. Yeah, but you see, it's limited to 1. and still is. It's been that way for about 2 years. It's been that way for about 2 years. Because that's just how good this fucking card is. And if I remember, it is in the... Yeah, it's basically in it's basically in the shop. You have to actually fucking buy it, which I'll show you real quick. And close that. Now I will let you know, sometimes in the shop, they do remove some of these items. Like limited cards, every now and then. It really depends what you're looking for. But what they do a lot of the time, just read the eye here. What it will get you is like the monsters, the effect, things like that, cards there, stuff like that. And it will get you a certain amount of packs from whatever the latest box is. So before you think about buying any of these with your gems, pay attention to what box it is you're getting, because that's what you're really paying for. Because getting the card here is a bonus. This is the key thing you're getting. But what matters is what box you're getting cards from. Because if it's a box that has nothing you want in it, then it defeats the entire point of getting this.
Yeah.
So, what you would want to do is you would want to wait until there's a box that you want, or I can show you right here. I can show you right here, and I'll go back to home. I will go back to my puzzle box real quick, and I'll show you. I click all these. I can find out the dream ticket. Go to exchange, and then let me see. I got my dream ticket. Here we go, and I'll just show you. Yep. And of course, whenever you do dream tickets, you're recommended of like what they think you might want to get. That might be beneficial, but it's not required. But you see how these are like have a number 3 on them?
Yeah.
These indicate how often these are used, and that's why they have such a low number. Or that's why they have a number on them to indicate how many you're allowed to have in your deck. Now, I want you to understand something. When you have a card that has a number like this on it, this means if you have this card and this card in your deck, you can't put you can put one more of this in your deck, but you can't add another of this, and vice versa. And this is reflected on all cards that are like so. Now, they have changed the way some of these decks are listed. So I can show you after, but let me show you exactly what you can get from your dream tickets and why they're so fucking good, okay? So, remember your favorite stat, right? Go click that. These are this is all the favorites I've saved over like the last few years, but these are some of the key cards I have for spells. Now, you can see, these are all the choices I have. This is up to just before the most recent box. Yep, now if I get more specific, I go here, I play, I do these are related, and I do ultra rare. Now you'll notice I can't get super poly, right? You'll notice that, right?
Alright.
Now, like I said, the reason you can't get it is because it's a card you must purchase, because it's one of those cards that is extremely strong for that exact reason. Because of just how busted it is, and not everybody's gonna fork out the cash to tax it, get it, or spend the gems for it.
Gotcha.
So I'll show you real quick. Oh, you can also check like the popularity ranking of cards to really tell you what's going to be very strong right now. And as you can see, after the recent release, like with Effect Dealer and stuff like that, these are like the top 3 cards that are used the most often in gray. Usually it's gonna be... Oh, yeah, it does it for you, see? Tells you who is using all these cards in that rank type, okay? And this is pretty much how they build a ban list and stuff like that, so... What's your what? Things like that. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, do you have to use any of these cards? No. You do not need to use any of these cards if you do not want to. You are not required to. Some of these cards offer you assistance for whatever you're trying to do, but they are not for everybody. That's why rogue decks exist. So, go back under real quick, and I'll show you how the limited factor works. Let me use it on a character I don't care that much about. Also, be mindful, do not ever spend gems to buy deck slots. That is a waste of your currency. Okay, so what we will do is we will go to deck settings, Oh, actually, PC is a little different. Right, should I go to menu here? I'm so used to doing this on my fucking phone. It's very fucking different. I'm not used to having it on this side. It's very weird. But yeah, anyway. So we'll do a little filter. And let's go all the way down. Yeah. Now, what we're gonna check though is like the forbidden lust first. Yeah. All the cards you cannot play in any format. Unless you're dueling against a friend on like the duel room and stuff like that. Yeah? This is how you check that they are. Now, the other thing, lie down. I'll show you how the effect of the limited 3 works, okay? This is currently everything that I have that is limited to 3. Yeah? So, I'll show you real quick. So, I'll put one in here. Or actually, let me just play this out, make this easy, okay? I'll put one in here, and one here, right? So, well, I should not be allowed to put another one in here, right? Because I've already filled the minimum that I'm allowed to, which is 1 of each. Okay?
Yeah.
It is the exact same. If you decide to use semi-limited as well, I'll show you that real quick. Okay? Scroll down. Limited to 2. This. Well, now, okay, so here you go. So see, you have 2 options here. Well, I do, because this is what's fucking here. Okay, so anyway, so do to me here. I cannot put another one in here because I've already met what I'm allowed to do with this deck. So this is where you have to really think about what's important or what you're trying to build. Okay, this is things you need to consider. And of course, limited is self-explanatory. You can only have 1 copy of whatever card it is at the time. Which is basically like, this is what it is currently. For what I have, so. Also, if you were actually here a few months ago, they actually give you this card for free. That's Grace Card. They gave it to you for free.
Well, shit.
Yeah, like I said, they give you a lot of stuff for free by just logging in. It's insane. Playing the game, even on a casual basis, they give you a lot of stuff for free to no end.
Yeah,
Some of the free tickets they give you and all that other stuff.
I'm gonna call it a night. I'm
Yeah.
fighting sleep.
Oh yeah. Alright, well, I hope this was informative, and despite the amount of a headache it gave me, but